Hey guys, Bazzy back here, and today it is time for episode 13 of our Calgary Flames franchise mode here in NHL 24. And today's episode is a very important one as we look to try and push for the playoffs here for the second straight year. Had a very good start, but have recently very much trailed off, sitting at around 500. These are the lines here if you guys were curious or just needed a refresher. I do have a couple of changes coming. One involving Patrik Laine, just has not been playing up to par this year. Look at the defense there. Nothing there has changed over the course of this year, I believe. But first change that we have to make here today is with our coaching staff. Just has not been getting it done so far this year. Our coach is really good. He's a A- coach. He has 63% team fit. Just hasn't been getting it done. So I'm going to fire one of our lower guys, and then we're going to see who has the better staff chemistry between our other two A-rated coaches. So we'll have to see here. Let's try the guy that we had last year. Just demote everyone here, play the musical chairs of coaches. So this was our coach that we had last year. He's like A+ in a lot of different things. He went 43, 32, and 7 for us. And then we also have Turner there that we can turn to as well. Does have a 61% team fit, which isn't bad. It's 2 less than our previous head coach. So let's try Turner, 53%. So that's definitely not going to work. So he can go back to the AHL head coach. And yeah, I guess that's going to be what our coaching staff looks like. Obviously keep the other A-rated coach just because he is a good coach to have around. He just won't be our head coach going forward. So the last thing I want to do here before we start the sim today is make one quick trade. So let me go and pull that up, and then I will be right back with you guys. So this is the trade I am looking at here today. Patrik Laine, he's got to go. He's 85 overall. He's on a very team-friendly contract here, but he has just not been helping out this team at all. Last year he had a decent run with us, but just hasn't been able to replicate it so far. I want to try and get Lawson Crouse. He's 87 overall. He's having a very similar season, so it's not like he's popping off or anything. He is a UFA at the end of the year, and Arizona's in a similar spot to us. So I'm thinking let's just maybe flip these players and see what will happen. So Arizona/Utah, what do you guys say? Trade rejected. So it is pretty close. Let's just throw on a late round pick, like a 5th maybe. That should be enough to get the job done. And trade accepted. So I'm going to go totally rework the lines here and meet back with you guys once those are complete. Alright, so this is what we're going to be looking like here going forward. Crouse is going to be our top line left wing. He has a good fit. He'll play with Rantanen and Higgins. I don't know. Maybe if he plays good, we can re-sign him. We can look at that a little bit later on. Coronado, Zari, Huberto will be our second line going forward. Wolski has earned the call-up from the AHL, so he will be on the third line going forward with the Ginla and Peltier. Lee, Backlund, and Dickinson, nothing changes there. Defensively, I just kept the same players in. I just kind of shaked around where everyone is at for the moment. And then goaltenders, obviously, still Dustin Wolf and Nedeljkovic. So, a little bit of a longer introduction here, but we needed to make some changes here. It just hasn't worked. First game. Big win against the St. Louis Blues. That is a great start to the sim. Switch out the goalies here. We will get Ned back in for the back-to-back. Give Dustin Wolf a night off here. Against the Chicago Blackhawks here in Chicago. It is a 4-3 loss. Let's get Wolf back in there. And he can start the next stretch of games here anyway. There we go. Let's get back to the sim. Against the Vancouver Canucks here. That will be a huge win in overtime, 2-1. Against the Minnesota Wild, that is a 4-1 win. There we go. Back-to-back. Can we make it 3 against the Anaheim Ducks? And we do. Big 5-3 win against the Ducks. So we'll go and get Ned back in there for the back-to-back against Chicago once again. Playing them for, the second time in just over a week or so there. Switch up the AHL goalies as well. Can we make the win streak 4 against Chicago? And we do. Big win in overtime. There we go. So, once again, let's get Dustin Wolf back into the net. Let's see. There we go. So Wolf's back in. And Wolski, how's he been doing so far? He's actually, yeah, he's back to an even plus minus. Got a couple more points there. It's definitely good. I think it was a good move calling him back up. Against the Tampa Bay Lightning, can we make it 5 games? Cirelli, no, we don't need him right now. Winning streak does come to an end against the Bolts, unfortunately. Let's jump into this Arizona game. We'll play Line in the Coyotes here. See if any player makes a difference. First period, 1-0 Calgary, Jonathan Huberdeau. Second period is 1-0, sorry, still. And in the third, 2-0 for the Flames. Rantanen adds 1 for us. So a big 2-0 shutout of the Arizona/Utah Coyotes. Just keep on keeping on here, guys. Keep winning these games. Definitely been a better start. Big win against the Blue Jackets as well. Can we follow it up with the Penguins? No, we do lose to the Penguins by a score of 3-1. So once again, another back-to-back here. We seem to have a lot of those in the last couple of weeks. We will get Ned back in for the game against the Capitals, which will be a big win against the Capitals. There we go. Need to find our scoring a little bit more, but just need to keep putting up games like that, and we should be okay. So Wolf, once again, back in the net. Krause, he's actually been a pretty good addition to that first line. 7 points in 11 games. Small sample size, but I do like what I'm seeing there. Going up against the Florida Panthers here. Another big win, as it looks like we actually do have a break coming up here. Just sim across that. And we actually have another game against the Panthers here. Before we get into that, I want to actually see our coaching record here since we made the change. We've been a lot better of recent. Let's see. Yeah, 9-3. That's a great way to start off the simulation to this episode. So, going up against the Panthers here for the second straight time. Wolski goes down. That's not great. Do we have a forward that we can even put in up here? Yeah, we have Rachevsky. So he can just go in on that third line for now. It is not the end of the world. Of course, putting them in all lines doesn't actually put them in all lines. For whatever reason, that's another glitch that they got to fix with this game. Been in there for years and years now, so just throw Rachevsky on the power plays for now. Didn't see if it was a super long-term injury, but Rachevsky is more of that offensive player too, so he can slot in there. But let's just keep on going here against the Anaheim Ducks here as the Islanders fire their head coach. Maybe we can look at that after. Against the Anaheim Ducks, we do get a huge win there by a score of 5-3. Let's jump into this other game against the Arizona Coyotes. Once again, we will see if Patrick Laine will make a difference or if Krause will make a difference. First period, 1-1 Lee and Schmaltz. Second period, 3-2 for the Coyotes. Zari gets the lone goal for us, and unfortunately we do drop this one by a score of 5-3. So 1-1 against the Coyotes there in the last couple of weeks. Keep on going here against the New Jersey Devils. It's a 4-3 loss. Switch out the goalies here. Got to beat the Islanders. They just fired their coach. Must mean they have a bad record there. I didn't actually see it. Get Ned back in there. Yeah, Islanders, we got to beat this team. Come on, guys. Dubois, I'm not touching that contract. That's for sure. Another loss against the Islanders. A very bad team there, and we can't get the win. It's not great. Just keep on going here, I guess. Get Wolf back in the net. Going up against the very good Detroit Red Wings. Peak, it's a big contract, a lot of term. Say no. Wolski is back, that's huge. We'll get him back on the third line there for Rachevsky. He will draw out of the lineup for the moment. There we go, make that change. It's been alright. Plus player at least since his call-up. Unfortunate loss to the Red Wings there. Against the Boston Bruins, it's another loss. Come on, guys. Against the Toronto Maple Leafs, that is a win finally. But we're like right back at 500. Come on, guys. We go on these winning streaks and then we just completely fall off as... Oh, great. Uyghur's out now. So there goes one of our better defensemen on the team. That is not good. I'm definitely going to have to make some moves at the deadline there. So Solovyov, he can go the top pair for now. It's the end of the world. Switch these guys around here in just a sec. The defense actually has been surprisingly good outside of Anderson. Throw him with Dickinson, maybe those two will play good together. Throw Solovyov down there. And then extra attacker. Doesn't really matter. I'll just throw Higgins on there for now. Give him a little bit more ice time. But yeah, that's a big loss for sure on defense. Didn't see how long he was out for, but against the Ottawa Senators. Oh, and Uyghur's back. Okay, that's actually really good news. Only ended up missing one game with his injury there, so let's get everything back to how it was. Slovyov can come out. Uyghur, you can go back in. We'll need him if we want to make a push for the playoffs here. So there we go. I think everything's back to how it was. Let's jump into the deadline here, see if we want to make any moves. I do see us being more of a buyer. Like, I really want to make the playoffs once again. Martin Necas, that would be very nice. It's a lot of trade value, though. He's having a decent year. Outside of that, McCann, that's not too bad. Another pending UFA. If I get a guy, I definitely want him on a one-year deal, which gives us more options in the off-season. So I am going to go see what I can do with some other teams here. I'll try on Necas, but I don't think it's going to end up happening. But I'll come back to you guys if I do find a trade. Alright, so this is what I am looking at here. Second round pick and Dmitry Richevsky. Unfortunately, in this universe, he just hasn't turned out to be as good of a player as I have seen him in the past. Got him on waivers last season. We're going to be trying to pick up Philip Danault. We actually get a trade coming in here. I don't think, hopefully it doesn't mess it up. No, it won't. Danault, 85 overall. He's having a tough season on the Kings. He's a pending UFA. He's a guy that I think is just going to be a good playoff performer, a good, very, very good bottom six player. We honestly probably don't even need a forward, but I just can't really pass up on him. I think he would be great in the playoffs. What do you say, LA? Trade accepted. So if there's any other trades, I'll cut back to you guys. If not, I will show you the lines after this trade. So not a trade that we made, but it is funny to note that Patrick Laine ended up getting flipped from Arizona to Philadelphia. Again, just wanted to show that to you guys here quick. Let me go edit up the lines and I'll show you what we're looking like. Alright, so I have Philip Danault slotting in on the fourth line center position. I think that'll be a very good spot. He's replacing Dickinson, who is having a good year himself. The only other change that I ended up making was looking at the second line. Like, the minuses are just horrible, especially with Huberdeau being minus 18, so I just moved him down a line and Wolski up one. Outside of that, I think everything is more or less the same, I want to say, other than Danault. But yeah, defensively there shouldn't be any changes or anything like that. So we just got to sim up the rest of the season. If the guys want it, the guys want it. If not, then just definitely not going to be making the playoffs. AHL injury, that's alright. 2-0 loss to start things out. That's not great. Against the Vegas Golden Knights, it's a loss in the shootout, 2-1. Switch out the goalies here. Get Nedeljkovic back in there. He's actually getting a decent amount of playtime this year. But he's definitely, I think, been better than our other two goalies the last 2 years. So against the Vancouver Canucks, shutout 4-0. Only putting up one goal in our last 3 games. Shutout twice. Against the Canucks again, and there we go, 7-1. There we go, that's how you rebound. So 2 games back to, or not back to back here, but 2 games in a row against the Kraken. Let's get Dustin Wolf back in here. We need our best goalie in the net to give us a chance at the playoffs. First game against the Seattle Kraken is a huge 4-0 shutout. Dickinson, okay, that's just a playable injury. Second game against the Kraken is another shutout for Dustin Wolf. That's awesome to see. Against the St. Louis Blues, big 4-3 win. We need to keep up this win streak, guys. Come on. Against the Chicago Blackhawks, 7-2 win. Absolutely destroyed the Hawks there. Switch out the goalies here, but we're on a very good winning streak here post-trade deadline. I'd love to see that. So can we continue that against the very good Minnesota Wild? We cannot lose by a score of 4-1. But let's go and get Wolf back in the net. We have 2 very important games against the LA Kings here. I believe the Kings, yeah, they're right there with us in record, so we're fighting with them for a spot. First game is 7-6 shootout winner. High scoring game, but we do get the win and the 2 points. Second game against them is another shootout win, 3-2. So we get 4 points against the Kings in 2 games against them. That is very good for our playoff odds there. Get Ned back in for the back-to-back against the Abs. Abs are a very good team this year. That will be a lost to the Avalanche. It's not great, but probably not expecting that against a team so good like the Avalanche. Get Wolf back in there so we can go against the Flyers and recently acquired Patrick Laine apparently. They're also in a playoff race for themselves. Can we beat the Flyers? We cannot. Come on, guys. We can't drop the slate here against the Nashville Predators. Can we get a win against them? We do in the shootout. 5 games left, and it is coming down to the wire. Against the Jets, that's another huge win. So we currently sit in a wild card spot. Let's go take a look at the standings. So we sit with 85 points. Looks like Vegas probably won't catch us. Where am I going here? Not entire league. Whoops, not the Pacific, that is us. Where am I going here? Why can I not find... Oh, Central Division right there. That is my bad. So Central also 80 points. 84 is the wild card, so we're looking good. It's not guaranteed, of course. But if we can win maybe 2 more games, we should be okay. So these are a couple of huge games coming up. Big win against the Blues. There we go, 5-1. Jump into this game against the Edmonton Oilers. That being more of a rivalry game, and it just really being an important game to close out the season. First period, 2-2. Rantanen and Tij Aginla for us. Janssen and Denisenko for them. 3-3 after 2, Bourgault and Anderson. But of course the Edmonton Oilers always beat us in the slow sim. They win by a score of 6-3. But it does look like we do end up clinching a playoff spot. Even though we lose, that is totally alright as long as we are in the playoffs. So we do clinch with 87 points. Definitely not the strongest year. Doesn't matter how you make it there, it just matters that you make it. So let's just throw in Ned for the last 2 games. It really doesn't matter at this point. We have clinch. We don't want to risk any injuries for our starting goalie. So Nedeljkovic will get the last 2 starts. Up against the Vancouver Canucks here first. That will be a 4-3 loss in regulation, followed by against the Ducks will be a 2-1 win. So finish off the season on a win, which is a good thing. Just get Wolf back in there so I don't forget that. Knowing me, I will end up forgetting that for sure. So in the first round of the playoffs, we will be facing the... Who do we have? Of course, it's the Edmonton Oilers. Oof, that is a tough matchup in round 1. So let's go and take a look at all the player stats. We'll wrap up everything here today. Look at the Oilers. Rantanen leading the way, 50 goals, 78 points. It's very good. Zari had 70 points again. Hagen 67. That's definitely a career high. Yeah, 44 before. Coronado 59. Huberdeau just, it's not great with the plus minus. 3 years in a row minus. That's not great. Krause, what did you do on that top line? 30 points in 41 games. That's very respectable for Lawson Krause. I like that. Again, 36 points, minus 14. Not great, but it is rookie years, so. Philip Deneau, what do you do for us? 3 points, 19 games. You are getting not a ton of ice time, though, so understandable. Wolski puts up 28 and 45. That was a good move calling him back up. Defensively, Poirier leading the team in scoring. Wow, 45 points. He had a really, really good year for us. Weegar behind him. He got his plus-minus back together. Anderson still was a minus 10. Dickinson a plus 28. Love to see that. Brucewick's not bad too. Goaltending wasn't great from either guy. Numbers are just about average. You can say maybe even a little bit below. Go to the Oilers. Actually, no, I don't want to look at the Oilers stats from here. Just go look at their lines and preview them that way. It's going to be a tough matchup in round 1, I'll say that. We always have issues with the Oilers, especially in the slow sims, so it's going to be a challenge to say the least. Looking at the Oilers, Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman, first line still together all these years later. Nuge, McLeod, Bourgault on the second. O'Connor with Malkin. Does he still sim really good? Yep, 61 points, of course, and 80 overall. With Evander Kane, Carrier, Robinson, and Denisenko. Defensively, 91 Bouchard leading the way with Nurse. Overall, defensively, it's pretty good for the most part, and they have depth at least. Skinner, 84. Injuries, Brody and Blankenberg. Nothing too crazy. It's a team that I definitely don't want to face in the first round, but it is the team that we drew. So next episode is going to be a big one. First round playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers, and we'll see if we can make a bit of a run with it. But that is going to do it for this one. I'll see you guys all in the next video.